This is the problem with a lot of white rappers that we see, or white musicians in general. I didn't mean to put rapper. A lot of them use black culture to kind of get their foot in the door, and then once they get to where they need to be, they just forget about us. And that's because as black people, we are so supportive. Black culture is so influential, so like when they see maybe an outsider doing it, it catches a lot of attention.
The Post Malone method. Now we got another banger from Antonio Talks. Whenever I react to him, for some reason, some of you lot love it. I also get some controversial comments, so it's really interesting. But me personally, I like him as a creator. I like his take on a lot of things, even though you don't have to agree with everything. You can also appreciate what people have to say on things. So I'm very curious to what he has to say when it comes to Post Malone and his methods.
Whenever a white rapper starts trending, I always kind of give them the side eye. This isn't because white rappers are bad. It's just that 9 times out of 10, they might be a culture vulture. So we all know Post Malone, right? I remember when White Iverson...
We're not even 20 seconds in and he's already... this guy, man. Let's see what he has to say.
First came out. This is my freshman year in high school. I remember I was playing Black Ops 3. It just came out. I seen the video and I was like, okay, this dude pretty cool. He dressed up as Allen Iverson, got the braids in.
The White Iverson was a banger. Oh my days. Even on the videos that I've reacted to Post Malone earlier in this channel as well, I remember I've told the story time and time again, how like when I first heard White Iverson, I think it was the first time I went over to America as well, right? And it was a song that I was literally listening to for my entire 2 weeks that I was in America for the first time. I went to Florida with a bunch of people like, around my age. I was mad young though. And they're saying that, bro, like, oh, it was crazy. I was like, it's us here. That's me. It was mad. But in saying that, let's actually see what he has to say. I got a feeling he's going to talk about how, for example, he's changed in terms of him going from hip-hop and utilizing it, and then obviously going into what he does right now. Let's see.
He's just a light-skinned black fella. Well, I was wrong. He was a full-blown Caucasian man. And at the time, it was nothing wrong with it. I was like, okay, yeah, he just probably grew up around black people. He got the swag, got the black swag because he was around. Fast forward, complete 180 from where he started. So this is the problem with a lot of white rappers that we see, or white musicians in general. I didn't mean to put rapper. A lot of them use black culture to kind of get their foot in the door, and then once they get to where they need to be, they just forget about us. And that's because as black people, we are so supportive. Black culture is so influential, so like when they see maybe an outsider doing it, it catches a lot of attention. But then it's like on a...
Okay, let's be real. I agree. I agree with what you're saying, right? I am not one of those people. I've said many times how, for example, you got people that are like, I love black people, F all white people, etc. Because at the end of the day, not every single person in this world is a certain type of way. Similar to like the whole gender wars and politics that go on when like ladies be like, oh, all men are this, or all women are like that, when guys also say that and they're rage baiting, etc. So I don't believe in absolutes, but in regards to what you said in regards to like, for example, black people and how we are very accepting, that's how we are, bro. Integrally, like, if we find something cool, what are we gonna do? We're gonna accept it, we're gonna embrace it, and we're going to bring it into us, because that's just how we are, right? Whereas what tends to happen is that some people see it as an opportunity to capitalize on, and then once they capitalize on it, then they bounce off. It's similar to, for example, how Kim Kardashian is another example of this, right? Some people may disagree, but from what I've seen, obviously we saw that before, the S tape, she was, I believe, Paris Hilton's secretary, right? Then the S tape basically came out. All of a sudden, from there, it became like the whole saga with like the whole Kanye and her and the whole, do you know what I mean? Like, she was really capitalizing on that whole experience, that whole timeline. Now we can see that she's now going back into, you could say, just being a Caucasian lady. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is the reality of things. And whenever we see it and point it out, what ends up happening is that people then say, oh, you guys are just reaching, you're just saying this for the sake of saying it, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, it's actually just the case. And it's not the best feeling. It's not the best feeling, to be very, very honest with you.
Same page, let's say Beyonce, she tries to pivot to country. It's like access denied, but they can do it to us. Y'all get what I'm saying? Y'all see the frustration? Now, there is another rapper out right now named Ian, and he got some pretty hard slums. I was bumping Brody's stuff. Now, he hasn't fully did what Post Malone did yet, but I can see it coming.
Damn, I'm on my Britney shit. Oops, I hit again. Damn, I'm on my DJ Khaled shit. We the best.
Who the hell you getting on the phone with? We don't talk about it, you just pop it on.
And the thing is, yeah, why is it that every single time they always start off with like hip hop or whatever, and then all of a sudden they just start doing like some country or something like that? I get it, because in terms of like, we're just looking at it bird's eye view. I get it because obviously hip hop is before it was the biggest genre in the world. Obviously, it's on a bit of a decline, etc. But outside of that, country is a massive genre, a massive genre. So business-wise, if you're able to make that transition, obviously build your fan base up here and then transition over here, then naturally you're just making a lot of money. Do you get what I'm saying? It's similar to artists just in general. You have artists within hip-hop that, for example, they make songs for the streets, etc. Then they eventually commercialize because there's a big bag whenever you're making what you call quote-unquote pop music and making music for the masses. So naturally, I totally understand it, but it's all about the intention behind it, right? Are you doing it for career progression? Are you doing it because you want to utilize a group of people and then obviously I feel the biggest issue behind it as well that people face is the abandonment and the fact that as soon as people basically make that transition, they almost act as if though they didn't have that phase in their life where it was black people that basically made them who they were. Do you know what I'm saying? Which is, it even frustrates me. I'm not gonna lie, it does frustrate me. So yeah, man, it's not the best feeling at all.
The pivot is pivoting.
The Post Malone method remains undefeated. The Miley Cyrus method remains undefeated.
I forgot about Miley Cyrus. She did it too.
Yeah, Miley Cyrus did it too.
No. Hell yeah. Miley, I remember she was at the Super Bowl twerking and shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
I believe like Miley Cyrus even made like the whole twerking thing a thing, because of course we always understand that, you know, ladies shaking yash has always been a thing in terms of back home in Africa, in the Caribbean, etc. It's just something it's not even sexualized. Like if you go back home and you see ladies twerking yash, in reality it's just how they dance, depending on how they do it. But in the macro, it's just like, okay, cool, you see a lady shaking yash, majority of the guys are like, okay, do you know what I mean? Like, don't get it twisted, she's fine as well then. You know what I'm saying? But majority of the time, it's just like, okay, yeah, she's dancing and you get jiggy as well. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's dancing together. Then, when this whole wrecking ball kind of thing, she starts twerking Miley Cyrus, all of a sudden you see all the white girls twerking. And back then as well, it was mad stiff as well. It was like, I might get cancelled for that. But it's reality though. So, it's crazy, man. Twerking became a thing, if I'm not mistaken, because of Miley Cyrus, like in the Western world anyways. But it's always been a thing anyways. As I always say, good artists copy, great artists do what? They steal. So she stole the art and then flew with it.
Miley?
The Justin Timberlake method remains undefeated. Ian is a rapper.
Justin Timberlake.
Rapper who came into prominence within the last couple of years. People have always had mixed opinions about his music because it's undeniably influenced by early and late 2000s Atlanta. It's like if Asher Roth grew up listening to Jeezy and Migos. And there's nothing wrong with that on its own. We have the examples of Mac Miller, Action Bronson, you know, that. The issue, though, is
Mac
that
Miller.
these kinds of artists are really the minority.
Long live Mac Miller, man. They don't make white boys like him no more, for real.
Mac Miller was a real one.
What we see happen more often is non-black artists using black music to build a name or a platform and then immediately pivoting away from black music.
Yes, we see it
What
all
I think we're seeing from Ian is something we've seen happen time and time again in American music. And the problem is that it's not a two-way street. Post Malone can get accepted in black music and then go country, but Beyonce can't be a black artist and do the same.
Right.
Miley Cyrus did a bunch of songs with Mike Will Made It and twerked on Robin Thicke to break away from the Disney image, just to drop 6 country rock or alternative albums and then go on Monica Lewinsky's podcast to talk about it as one of the most troubling times of her life.
That's the thing, bro.
It's quite telling, isn't it?
That is the thing. Let me explain something to y'all. Whenever, for example, it was this trend going around where it was like white people. It was like everybody was doing it, but I remember white people doing this, but Young Boy was about to go on concert. So everybody was like, this isn't me going, this is my past self going. And like, it'll be a picture of them with a whole bunch of black people when they was listening to Young Boy. And then it's like present day, they're dissing their self from black people. So it's like, as black culture, black people, like being around us is related to like a rebellious stage in their life. It's a negative connotation with it.
Which, you know, that's good and fine. She was running around like she was on drugs.
Which is a shame. Which is a shame. There's a lot of things that is amazing about Black culture and should definitely be celebrated. And obviously, there's a lot of things that we need to also work on. But guess what? That's the same with every single culture, mate. It's the same with every single ethnic group. Like I mentioned, when I speak to my white friends, when I speak to my Asian friends, when I speak to, because obviously there's two Asians, when I speak to like the Asian Orientals as well, anyone I speak to that's not Black, they all go through their own struggles, bro. It's just that, unfortunately, Black people, obviously due to history, etc., have been painted and through media have been stigmatized to be a certain type of way. So it's demonized in everyone's eyes, unfortunately. So if a white and Black person wants to do the same bad thing, in reality, it's more likely, obviously there's no statistics to kind of prove this off the top of my head, but it's more likely that a Black person is going to be given the bad notion to be seen as, this is troublesome, they came from this environment, just because of how media is basically painted it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas the white person, they can basically pull that type of card. And I hate to use these race cards, but at the same time, I'm a man that likes to call a spade whenever I believe in something and believe that something is actually the reality. So it's a shame to see, man. It's a shame.
It's the whole time. But at least the problem for me is she didn't have to go to Black music to act the ass like that.
Yeah, like,
You know, she could have put out Wrecking Ball and skipped the Juicy J feature if that was the plan the whole time.
right.
And it didn't just start with Hannah Montana. Segregation used to go further than just water fountains. There were stations that simply would not play music from Black artists, so record labels would literally get a white person to sing the song in order for it to get played everywhere.
Yep.
That's the same business model that brought America Elvis.
Yeah, I on everything, I was literally about to mention Elvis, but I was like, you know what, let me leave it. The guy said it for me.
First single was a cover of That's All Right by Arthur Crudup. And his longest ever charting single was a cover of a song by Big Mama Thornton called
Yep. Yes.
Hound Dog. Stations refused to spin from Black artists that became
I didn't know
toppers
this happened.
the second they could give the credit to a white one. This went on way beyond the 50s.
I only know that because after watching Elvis's documentary, I actually started digging deep into Elvis and obviously asking like some of my white friends as well, like, what's the songs that you guys listen to, etc. Because I'm a music producer. I'm gonna listen to music that bangs regardless. There was even this. Oh my god, I need to show you guys. Yeah, let me even show you right now. Yeah, there was a song that came off my TikTok. Yeah, and it's a lady that's singing. I don't know what language it is. Yeah, but it just bangs. I thought it was Yoruba, yeah, for my Nigerians that watch, yeah. But it's not Yoruba. But it gets me like, oh, let me show you guys. Yeah. By the way, my people, if you're watching up until this point, make sure to follow my TikTok. On there, I just give different updates and whatever. But it's this lady. I don't want to get a copyright strike, but damn, there's another one that she did. Let me find that one for you. Then you got this one right here. Some of you are gonna call me a freshie, yeah, but look, it reminds me of Fuji. It reminds me of like almost Akbala Kana. You know, don't gas me. But anyways, so yeah, I'm someone that enjoys music at large. You get what I'm saying? Hence why obviously I did the digging when it came to Elvis.
The 50s and before. Chuck Berry had to sue the Beach Boys to get credit for Surfing USA. The Rolling Stones openly credit Black artists. The group name is a Muddy Waters reference. And don't even get me started on the Beatles. The Post Malone method is just this evolved. The method is so established, other countries like Korea took the blueprint and built K-pop with it. The earliest groups were doing 90s R&B for Korean audiences.
Man.
They even had a Korean usher in the early 2000s.
Man.
While I'm not surprised to see it from Ian, I am
because it's music and music is my main, music is my life, bro. So this is something that I really do study. It's not even the race card at this point. It's actually, I'll go as far as to say the fact. This is what happened. And especially in those type of audiences, the language that tends to get used in like labels and just in the music world is that in order to make the music more palatable for a wider audience, we're gonna go with this artist, and the artist tends to be non-black. Do you know what I'm saying? Or for example, even when it comes to black artists, there's even arguments I've seen online, whether you disagree or agree, where they will now start bringing colorism into it. And I believe even colorism in itself, is one of the dumbest inventions that human beings could have actually come up with. Like, at the end of the day, if you're a melanated person, you're melanated, bro. Like, do you get what I'm saying? But for some reason, people will now be like, oh, like, they went for the lighter skin artists because they're more appealing, or they went for the more ambiguous artists. Another example of that in the UK, for example, someone like Central C. Central C is people's, do you get what I'm saying? And naturally, I understand how his team is. I saw what they did with like Bouncer and, not Bouncer, sorry, with Tanks. And anyone that basically speaks on him, do you know what I'm saying? But I have big respect for Central C, for Bello and the team, etc. But let's be real. If Central C wasn't ambiguous looking, would he be the biggest artist that we see right now in the UK, besides maybe a Dave?
Surprised to see the method still going strong. I've gotten to the point where I give a lot of these new artists 2 projects before I take them seriously.
Yeah.
If they're not calling that era a phase and the music is genuinely good by then, maybe I'll give it a shot. But I can't contribute, in good conscience to the success of the Post Malone method, knowing how it works, especially when you consider the vacuum of opportunity there is for the artists that are actually of the culture of that music.
Big shout out to Mac Miller and Eminem. Like, shout out to the white rappers who actually...
Yeah, I saw some people like getting at Eminem. They were like, when they saw, was it Post Malone? I can't remember. I was scrolling through TikTok, and I think it must have been Post Malone. Like, that was saying that someone like a white artist was in hip hop and then they basically transitioned, blah blah blah. Someone in the comments and they got bare likes, so it's like, this is all because of Eminem. I'm like, how? Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Eminem. I couldn't name you like 5 Eminem songs off the top of my head. But at the end of the day, that guy is a lyricist, bro. And from what I've seen, obviously I haven't done much research. You guys let me know down in the comments. The guy actually appreciates the culture, do you know what I mean? So, very interesting. But my people, I'm going to leave the link for this down below. Make sure to support this creator. Let me know your thoughts as well. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Have I missed something out? Just let me know. I'm always keen on understanding. Again, I'm not really here for the debates, you know what I'm saying? So, calling me out, saying things that are rude, etc., my people them is the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't take anything for real kind of vibe. And I'm the most nonchalant guy that ever is on it, just in life. Do you know what I'm saying? So anything I see that's crazy, I'm not really going to respond to it. But anything that is thought provoking, or just let me know your opinions, and obviously I'll get back to you guys. Let's build a community. Let's get to 100 subs ASAP. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.